guys, welcome to this week's project Amberlight, and as you can see I'm switching it up again. I've got a lapel mic. What? Still talking about the same stuff. Now, because our editor doesn't have an assistant, which normally you would, who does like kind of basically the grunt work, he's doing all that now, so that means like syncing up all the rushes. Because when you shoot something, most oftentimes you'll shoot the camera doesn't record the audio, that's recorded separately, so you have to then marry the two back up in post-production so that you can edit everything. So all the takes that you've done, you have to sync them all up before you can start editing. So that's what he's doing at the moment, so that might take him a little while. So in the meantime, we can still talk about other stuff. What? So the other thing on Amber, which is more of a sort of a logistical thing, but because the dust has finally kind of settled and I've been able to just think beyond just like recovering from it all, I started doing the perks for Indiegogo. That's kind of nice because people, you know, were very generous and gave us money to support us making the project. So it's kind of nice to start the process of giving back the things that were promised, and it feels quite honourable, you know, like going through and going, well, we said we'd do that and we're going to do it. A lot of the time people are like, you know what, don't worry about it, but we want to, you know, you want to offer it anyways because you know, you promised it and people pledged based on, you know, the fact that these things were promised. That's kind of nice to start that process of going through and, you know, making sure that people get credited and sending thank you videos, and I've got to do some voicemails. I've recorded some voicemails for people, so that's going to be interesting. I'm going to record their outgoing voicemail message. So we're now doing Andy and Earl's Tinder Surprise. So that is, that's also on my YouTube channel. And we're just going to sort of play around with it and see, you know, see if we can make a fun little show, just talking about dating really. And what's good is obviously I'm a woman and he's a guy, so we're both getting, we're getting both sides of the table or whatever. Because I don't know what the women's profiles look like and he doesn't know what the guys' profiles look like. So often I'm saying, this is what guys do a lot of. He's like, really? And then he's telling me that all the women have pictures of themselves with tigers. I don't, but you know, I'm not an ordinary woman. So yeah, so that's been really fun to do. But the other day we recorded one like 2 days ago, and I fucked up so royally. Like, I was trying to get all clever with the setup and stuff because we're doing like 3 cameras, very sort of basic cameras, but I just didn't set it up properly. This is a similar story. I think I had the same conversation with you about when I tried to shoot the Indiegogo video. I reshot my piece to camera. I realised after the initial shoot that I did the other day, I just didn't set it up right. So when I was watching stuff back, I said, why doesn't it look right? Why is it all sort of orange and just... It was my fault. But basically I didn't really check properly. I set the cameras up and everything and the sound, but I didn't really do a test recording. So afterwards there was, I hadn't turned on some of the mics weren't plugged in properly. One of the, like these lapel mics, the channel had changed and I hadn't even noticed, so it wasn't recording anything. So do you know what I mean? It was just like one fuck up after another, and like I was so cross with myself, but it was a good lesson to learn. And you know, you can see why in doing that, I could see why things take so long to set up when you're actually doing a shoot. You think that a camera crew just turns up and just starts shooting, but they don't. There's so many things to check and, you know, make sure it's all good. Because the thing is, it was no drama to us to have lost all that footage. But imagine you're on some $1 million or multi-million-dollar film shoot and someone's like, guys, I didn't press record. We're going to record another one tomorrow, so hopefully that will go well and that will be online as well. But what I like about it is, like, it's not just about doing it like from a performance perspective, but also I'm sitting down, I'm editing it as well, and that's really sort of yeah, a good challenge to have, of like learning the software and learning editing technique as well at the same time. I don't want to be an editor, but it is quite good to be able to just shoot and cut your own stuff. Elle has created this character, Paul, who is a Welsh superhero. So that's what I'm working on at the moment. So I'm in pre-production again. Like, it hasn't even been, what, it's been just over like about 5-6 weeks since we finished Amber, and I'm already on to something else. But I got a bit of a taste for it, I think. I think I'm sort of enjoying it. Over the weekend we had a we had a rehearsal with one of the actors, because the film basically breaks down to 3 main scenes. So we had a rehearsal with one of the actors in that first scene, and it was really nice to sort of just be back in working with actors. And also I learned that not every actor works in the same way. So where you get used to working with actors in a particular way and have a particular relationship with them, it ain't always like that. So, you know, you have to, you can't just sort of like dump everything you're thinking on somebody and expect them to go excellent. That is, I'm so glad you've told me all that information. Actors want to have their own input and have made their own choices and work in their own way and want to talk about things in a particular way. Some actors don't even like rehearsing. They're just like, can we just do it? So, you know, all that. For me, I like rehearsing because I like playing. Rehearsal is playing, so I like doing that. So that was really good, just to sort of just explore it. And because even though it's a comedy, which, you know, comedians and comedy actors always trying to make the comedy look effortless, but in my experience a lot of thought goes into it. And that's why I think rehearsals are really important, because the more you explore it, the more you're able to bring to it. Because comedy's funny because somebody is completely invested in the thing. You know, it could be something really superficial, but if the person's like really invested in it, that's what makes it really funny. So that's kind of why I really like doing rehearsals, and that's why I really, I'm going to try and get rehearsals. Whatever I direct, I'm going to make sure that there's rehearsal in it, because I think that's really important. I think it adds something that, you know, when people just expect to just get on with it. Unless it's like a super small role that, you know, there's like, what can you rehearse? He went that way, officer. It's like, there's not much you can do with that. But if it's a nice juicy role where the character's got depth and they've got substance to them, I like to talk about, where did this character come from? Why today? That's an important question that I think sometimes writers, directors and actors forget to ask. Why are we looking at this day as opposed to any other day? What does this person want out of the scene? If you can't answer that question, then you don't have a scene as a writer, director and an actor. The actors, all 3 of those people have got to know, what does this person want? And it's got to be like a really clear objective. And that all sounds like very boring, and it sounds like it should be more for drama than for comedy. But in comedy it's the same. A character still has to have an objective. Like if it's Joey in Friends, he wants to get this woman into bed, or he wants to get out of this room without Monica asking him about, you know, such and such. I can't think of examples. I'm not Mrs. Example. That if I was a superhero, my character would not be Mrs. Example. So I think it's really important to sort of go through things and just like, you know, let the character and let the story get inside your bones, inside your body. That's when I think my best stand-up, I think, has always been when I've known the routine inside out, because it's in your body. And you know what I mean, like you just know it so well that you freestyle and you go off on tangents and you come back to it and you think of other ideas and stuff like that. But that only comes from knowing it so well. My acting coach, Howard Fine, who I think he gives life lessons, not just, you know, acting lessons, but he's always saying that, I can't remember how he puts it, but it's basically the excellence comes from mastery. It's not from, because some actors are like, oh, I don't want to rehearse, I don't want to over rehearse it. And he always says, there's no such thing as over rehearsing, there's just bad rehearsing. So if you're always doing something different and changing it up and really delving deeper and deeper and deeper into a character, and if your rehearsal is taking you deeper into the character, you're not doing anything wrong. Anyways, I don't know why I went on and on and on about rehearsal, but I just love it so much, and I think it's a really important thing that I think everyone should do. I think everyone should rehearse their day before they go out into the world. I do. That's it, really. That's essentially this week. So on Paul, what's coming up next is we've got more rehearsals with the actors who are in the second scene. And we also have a production meeting, because I've got to start getting my head around shot lists and stuff like that again, and I've got to recce the locations. And I don't even remember if you saw the episode of Project Amberlight where I was talking about shot lists and, you know, storyboards and stuff like that, and I didn't pull my finger out and do that in time, so I felt a little bit lost in the moment. I was sort of always chasing myself when we were shooting Amber. So this time I don't want to be in the same boat where like we're on set and I'm going, what shot should we do? I want to know, I want to have already written out the list. And now that I've had James's help, who was our first AD on Amber, who's actually a director, like a very experienced director himself. Now that I've worked with him and had his input on how to put a shot list together, now I know I've got a little bit more experience of like knowing what to do this time. It's really good actually. I can feel how you can learn just by just doing. Because some people say, oh, don't bother going to film school, just get on and do it. And that's great, as long as, I guess, you know, you have to appreciate that the getting on and doing it is also your film school. You can't just keep making the same crap over and over again. You know, you've got to improve and see where you can learn and change and grow and schmo and bow and. Alright, so that's it for this week. There's going to be another vlog next week, and yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers, bye.